Live, late breaking. You're watching KMAC. Unstoppable. The excitement of Texas Tech men's basketball. KMAC's Red Raider Nation presents Countdown to Tip-Off.
Good morning and welcome into Red Raider Nation's Countdown to Tip-Off. David Collier alongside Eric Kelly this morning as we get you ready for Texas Tech, Iowa State this afternoon at 3 o'clock at United Supermarkets Arena. The Red Raiders back home after 2 straight on the road, Eric.
Yeah, a place that's been really hard for teams in the past to win, but welcoming in a team, one of the rare teams that's been able to come into Lubbock, at least in the past few years, and come out with a win. Yeah, coming up in the next half hour, we'll talk about that. We'll also look back at the last 2 games for the Red Raiders on the road. Also had our friends from Iowa City catch us up on the Cyclones, who have had a tough start to conference play.
And later, it's another edition of Crashing the Boards, our unique way of breaking down today's matchup between the Red Raiders and the Cyclones. But first things first, we talk about this matchup between these 2 ball clubs. The Cyclones back in Lubbock. You mentioned it a moment ago, for the first time since January 16th of last year, when they handed the Red Raiders their one and only home loss of the season. This Cyclones team, though,
a little bit different.
A little bit different. 8-8 on the year, just 1-3 in Big 12 play heading into today's matchup. But they are bringing one of the league's best all-around players to the USA. Sophomore Tyrese Halliburton averaging nearly 16 points a game, which is 6th in the Big 12 Conference. He does a lot more than that as well. He leads the team in nearly every statistical category you can think of. Also leads the Big 12 in steals and assists.
He's a guy that can impact the game in so many ways. You know, one of the best passers in college basketball, one of the best shooters in college basketball, has a length and athleticism, one of the best steal guy defenders in college basketball. So you certainly have to just, you know, try to limit and make things difficult for him. You're definitely not going to stop him.
Now, Tyrese Halliburton, great player. No one's disputing that. We'll probably make an appearance later on in the show if we had to guess. But not the only guy who can make an impact on this Iowa State team. Cyclones with 6 guys total averaging at least 7 points per game. 10 of them averaging double-digit minutes this season as well. So a team certainly capable of going deep into their bench and throwing a multitude of looks at Texas Tech later today.
The returning players are dynamic. They've got a great front line with 3 forwards that can really play, one of the best shot blockers of the league, and 2 returners, and Jacobson Young, and certainly grad transfer from Penn State. Bolton is a good player. He's a dynamic player. I think he's actually leading their team in scoring right now over Halliburton. He's fantastic. And this team, like all great teams, has 3 or 4 guards that are interchangeable.
All right, time once again to fill in the blank with our Phil Mayer. He joins us now in the newsroom. Phil, we talked about a handful of Cyclones there, but back to Halliburton. Fill in the blank. Tyrese Halliburton reminds you of?
Jason Kidd. And I know that's a pretty lofty comparison, comparing him to an NBA Hall of Famer. But if you look at what Halliburton can do, he can score the ball, he can rebound, he can pass, he gets steals, he plays defense, and even though his form's a little weird, he shoots the 3 well, which is something Kidd picked up later in his career. So if you look at his numbers, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, that just screams J. Kidd to me. And he has good size. He's really the full package at the point guard position. I think he's someone that can give Texas Tech a lot of problems today. And he's a projected lottery pick, projected top 10 pick, and maybe we'll see today why that is.
Going old school with the NBA.
Tyrese Halliburton, future head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right, Phil, we appreciate it. We'll check back with you in a bit. Right now, though, it's time to take a break here on Countdown to Tip-Off. When we return, we do check in with our friends there in Iowa for more on this Cyclones basketball team.
And later, we have a chance to look at our standings of our Pick 3 draft and draft this week's team.